Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will be on right after this song.
Tommy Torettic. See, I don't like doing this, but I'm gonna teach you a little bit about the world. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to the shop of Anonymous. I swear I don't want anything to do with this, I promise this. You hear me screaming from the top, I'm dropping knowledge. The barrel's too far gone for a rookie, so I'm calling this. Game over for you, trumps the grind is all I know and do. Breathing fire like a dragon, or new power coming through. Yeah, I'm working 3 jobs so that I can frack that crew. The money you dummy, I'm trying to know, honey, can take that love from me. Going to the future and never coming back. Marty McFly, now more like his dad. Trying to be calm, all this news is just whack. Propaganda flying, so know everybody mad. Empathy is gone, so we all for attack. If you disagree, you're just stupid and sad. Use intolerance, or must be smoking crack. Ignorance is bliss, y'all, just to die, yeah. 2 sides of the same coin, killer. Why we ever stop living up for pillars? Acting like everything in life must be a thriller. We living in a world written by Frank Miller, cause the dark nights return, so now we churn. See our heroes messed up and now we spurn them because it pisses us off and now we burn their careers alive to the ground, cause we yearn to be in that position so that we earn millions and millions and millions, but then we turn into the very thing we hate. Now we revert and we refer to the lines that we rehearse. Spread love and forgiveness only to sink deeper. What did we learn? Distract myself from the world. Water, earth, fire, air, swirl. Bend it to your will, then hurl. Flying buffalo, why don't you give it a whirl? Grab a saber, then just twirl. Force cut a pear, give her a pearl. Power unleashes a churl. Join the dark side with me. Guess it's time I get back to work. Captain of my own enterprise, call me Kirk. Anger and depression always seem to lurk. Round every corner, so I write this just a perk. Everybody moved up, cause we screwed up. Living in a country where we shoot up. Anybody disagree, just to move up the food chain where you grew up. Otherwise they beat you down cause you used up. Time to boot up, new mindset program. Think you knew us, but you shoe us. You only care about us to subdue us, just to screw us. Living in a country full of Judas. Stab you in the back, USA or Brutus. Convolution. Bringing out the dark night, now we tuned up. Time to scoop up any positivity. While the masses all left clueless. They can only get your speed, Mr. New One's opportunist. Leave them naked in the ground, talking ruthless. I am ruthless. Visions full of kid grown ghoulish, broken ruthless. Spitting proverbs like Confucius, call me Tommy Torettic or Nostradamus.
Who this? Who this? Who this? Who this? Who this?
Tommy Torettic.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Welcome to Monday night. And I'm very happy to say that we're live streaming directly into your homes and phones via Facebook and the HWWS WebTV channel on YouTube. Welcome to episode 32. Holy shite. Of Life Thunder. Action. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester, aka Thor, son of Dale.
My name's David Thompson, and today we've got a huge show for you. As always, Mandalorian has been rolling right along, and everyone buckle in for our final topic today. We'll be talking all things Mandalorian. Season 2, I think generally, just where we think it's going to go after this season, or after this latest episode, episode 3, chapter 11. It was quite the episode, shortest one of the season so far, but that, make no mistake, please go watch it if you haven't already. It's a great episode in my opinion. We're going to talk everything about that, and then a ton of news. We have more Disney Plus news. We have DC news. We have Lilo and Stitch news. We got a whole lot of a bevy of news to get to today. Thomas, how you doing?
I'm doing... Oh man, I'm good. I was, for those of you that don't know, right before we came on screen, I was like, I'm not ready because I'm in the middle of still typing our show notes because, ladies and gentlemen, they gave us the answers that we've been seeking in Mando, and then they gave us more questions, and boy, did it be some stuff. So I have 4 days of research and copious amounts of what ifs going on. So today may be a really long show. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping not, but I'm doing well, David. I have life is stressful. We'll just leave it at that. How are you?
I'm doing well, back to work today, pretty fun, super exciting. The Colts won Thursday night, that was exciting.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I love how they won, and you sent me a text with like 5 minutes gone out of the first quarter, and you're like, "God, we suck. We're playing like crap." And I was like, "Bro, it's the first quarter. Give it some
The life
time."
of a sports fan. Literally, it's I mean, like 2 punts just really went our way. The guy shanked one, and then we blocked another and ran in the end zone. So those 2 punts really saved us. But yeah, good weekend. I had some time in Orlando with Jasmine's family, so that was fun. Yeah, Tom. So what have you been watching lately, or what have you been listening to? You and your audiobooks, man.
I know it's I finally finished. I say like it took me forever. I watched 2 episodes and then I took a break. I finished Blood of Zeus on Netflix. Holy shit! Bada bing bong. It is an anime based around the Greek gods and Greek mythology, and unexpected. It's very twisty. It's very, very twisty show, and I love it. And
Yeah.
your kids watch this. Let's just put it out on Fun Street. This is not a kids show.
Yeah.
This is 100% adult anime. Lots of blood, lots of gore. Great story.
Yeah.
I want more. I need more. Damn it, Netflix. But also, I finished the Darth Bane trilogy last week.
Wow.
Yeah, so I listened to 3 of those books in less than
I
a
was
week.
gonna say.
So,
You blew through that.
I'm still kind of recovering from it. I literally finished the last book at the gym.
Yeah.
Getting swole, boy.
Cool.
Getting swole. So spoiler alert, die, because like all car there's a way. So yeah, David, where can everyone find the audio version of this podcast? Wait, actually, what have you been watching and or listening to?
Honestly, like I haven't been watching much. Like on top of my head, it's funny. I actually snuck in watching the latest Mandalorian episode like in the morning before I went to work because it was so short, and I was like, oh, it's Friday. Like I don't want to wait till after work, so I ended up just like watching it like while I could, getting ready, and like did a pretty good job. I was able to actually what was nice is that I like got ready super quick and just like sat down at my desk before I had to go and like got to watch the last like 15 minutes without any like moving or like distractions. And the last 15 minutes are something else. So that was really good. But other than that, I haven't really been watching much, in all honesty. Like I haven't started any new shows. I haven't been watching anything that's like, I will say, I mean, we'll get to it in a bit, but I just can't wait for Marvel to be back in my life because I haven't watched anything Marvel in so long, and it's coming soon, and I just can't wait. I mean, listen to the podcast I always listen to and all that good stuff. But yeah, not much. I just keep it on Mandalorian. That's my number 1 priority when it comes to watching anything right now, and avoiding The Bachelorette at all costs.
So I forgot to add the photo to the graphics. I was going to show everyone what I woke up to Friday morning, which was your text.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
I'll get it set up before up, and all I basically saw was like 6 straight texts of ha 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 in all caps, and I was like, oh my. And I was like, okay, so one of 2 things have happened today. Okay, let's see what it is. And as soon as I saw the title of the episode, I was like, oh, it's the 3rd option I didn't think of. Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can get to it more later, but like when I was sitting there watching, I'm like, I cannot. Like I was doing things that laughing because I just couldn't wait for you to see this because I knew you're gonna lose it and like have all your stories that came out of it because it's just this episode was just candy. But anyway, before we get to that, let's talk about our audio podcast real quick. So you guys can find our audio podcast. I've been slacking. I've had some technical issues, but you can find most of our audio podcasts except for last week's episode. But it will get there. I gotta figure out my programming's not been working. But anyway, but our Monty M. Moore interview is up on audio, so you can go check that out. Highly recommend. That was a great interview. Really enjoyed speaking with him, and that was just really awesome. Go check that out. They are all on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and our hosting site, Spreaker. So, go like, subscribe, check it out there. Give us a 5-star review. And yeah, you can find our full shows, our full live Lights Interaction shows, all of our interviews, all that good stuff on those services. Thomas, what do you got for me?
I have Baby Yoda singing into our graphic. No, but you can find us live streaming every Monday now. This is going to be our permanent time. We have solidified it. Our work schedules have hopefully stopped changing.
Yeah,
every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be right here on our Facebook page Lights Thunder Action Show, where we go live. We will also be live over on the HWWS WebTV channel on YouTube. Shout out to everyone involved with the HWWS team. They've been amazing.
Shout out.
And they got a lot of cool stuff coming up soon. I'm very excited. We're all excited. And of course, since we're here, you can find us on Instagram at Lights Thunder Action, all one word, no hyphens, no spaces, at LTA Podcasting, ING. That's an action verb, on Twitter. And of course, you can find our clips of us being buffoons on Lights Thunder Action. Excuse me, Lights Thunder Action ! On YouTube.
Yes.
Which, that brings us right to everybody's favorite segment of the week.
What the news?
What the news indeed. Let's begin with the Snyder Cut. There's been a lot coming out about the Snyder Cut since it was announced. Whoa, when was that now? It was last
years ago.
It was in April, I think. Maybe even May.
Dude, it was in 2020. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, exactly. Somewhere in the ether. Anyway, so
yes,
word's been coming out that Warner Brothers, HBO, they're putting in a lot more money into the Snyder Cut than they initially thought. The initial reports were saying that the Snyder Cut for completion was only going to need some ADR, basically the actors were only going to have to come back into a studio and do some voiceover work. Nothing was going to be actual photography. That obviously changed. If you guys keep up with the news, they're now filming. We've got news that Jared Leto has returned for Joker. We've got news that Affleck might be there. Cavill's iffy. We got news that Ray Fisher is going to be there as Cyborg, doing all of these reshoots to complete the Snyder version of Justice League. And now this week, we're getting news saying that the additional photography that they're shooting right now, all these different people, is only going to be adding 5 minutes to the HBO Max exclusive, which is really, really weird to me, thinking about just on the level that Jared Leto, who's coming back and is going to have just a extremely small role, because it's confirmed that this is the first time he's filmed for Justice League. He didn't film any in 2015, 2016, or this is 2016 when it originally was filming. And really weird, especially on that level. And it seems like they were putting so much money into it. It's tens of millions of dollars. I mean, I guess in Hollywood, it's hard to kind of see how relative money is because there's just so much of it around. But anyway, I thought that was really interesting. Before we get to the second part, Thomas, what do you think about that?
I was surprised. Only 5 minutes and it's that much money.
Yeah, I don't. Part of me doesn't believe it. Especially
something smells fishy.
Exactly, and part of me thinks, well, with Jared Leto specifically, we just heard news that he was going to have a different look as well. That's a rumor coming out or news where he will be. Yeah, that was part of this too, where he wasn't going to be looking exactly the way he did in Suicide Squad. So all that considered.
It was officially road weary, I think was the words used.
Yeah. Exactly, which sounds great. I'm excited to see him in it. I'm upset it's only going to be less than 5 minutes, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if I really buy that. But anyway, the second part of the Snyder Cut news today. Zack Snyder, speaking of filming, Ezra Miller, our own Flash, he he shot his footage through Zoom. So here's the full quote from Zack Snyder. I had to get a pickup shot of Ezra, and we were doing this little bit of photography, he revealed. So they weren't going to travel to London, unfortunately. I would have loved to have done that. So what we did is we picked him up on a Zoom, and the Fantastic Bass crew, I sent them with drawings, and I was like, okay, this is what he has to do, and this is where he is. He had it on later. I was right here, and he was on his set. There was 3 monitors for me, so I could see the set and I could see Ezra. So he literally sat there and directed him through Zoom on a separate set because Ezra was filming something else right now. And
Fantastic Beasts 3.
In
London.
Yes, exactly. Fantastic Beasts 3. I can't even speak. 3 in London. So I thought that was so fascinating that they were able to pull that off, and how technology can work this way where I marvel at the fact how that's even possible. I mean, I can't imagine Ezra was doing too much. It was just him. So I can only imagine what it even is if it was just him, not even interacting with anyone. Thomas, what did you think when you heard this bit of news?
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, interesting. I like the idea. I like the incorporation of different technology. I think that's a smart move. Overall, don't care too much, but also like it's just cool.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, it's a cool piece of news for sure. I mean, I don't think there's much more to it than that. Especially when considering Ezra Miller shot. He's in a lot of the original Justice League, so you can imagine that he's shot most of his footage for this movie, even though it's going to be a completely different story, or at least a very different telling of the same story.
Did I put this in the show notes?
What?
This story.
Yeah.
Man, it must have been early in the week when I added that. I forgot I added all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a fun bit of news.
We're going through it, and I'm like, why is this even in the notes? Like, who put this here? It was me.
Well, speaking of HBO Max, we are now also getting Peacemaker. And there is some new casting news for Peacemaker. Did I use cast right? Casting?
Yes, there's new casting news. And then when someone has been cast in the role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Danielle
Words are hard.
Danielle Brooks has apparently been cast. I can say casted? Cast.
Cannot say casted. Casted is like a double past tense. It's a no-no.
That's so fascinating. Anyway, English. Danielle Brooks has apparently been cast to star alongside John Cena in HBO's Peacemaker. So she's mostly known from Orange is the New Black. This is, of course, according to Variety. She will be reportedly playing a character named Leota Adebayo. But any other further details, they don't know. She'll be revealed as an iconic, if she'll be a villain or a hero. So yeah, it's being very kept under wraps, but we have some more, momentum going forward when it comes to Peacemaker, some casting, all that good stuff. Thomas, what do you think of this?
That's cool. I thought I'm excited. I'm really excited about the next piece of casting news because
we have a second bit here. We have Chris Conrad has been cast as a vigilante in Peacemaker.
No, that's as vigilante. Like that's a character. That's
right. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. That's what I meant.
Oh, gotcha. Words are hard today. Monday.
I know. As vigilante. Thomas, what do you think of this? Yeah, you said you had some thoughts on it.
Very excited. So I know a vigilante because I watched Arrow for the entire run of the show.
Yeah.
Man, what a show. And Vigilante came along in season 5 and Adrian Chase showed up. And spoiler alert, turns out that Adrian Chase was not Vigilante, even though in the comics he was. And it looks like this will more likely than not be the Vigilante version of Adrian Chase, as opposed to what Adrian Chase in the show became, which was a whole different thing in and of itself. However, very excited for Chris Conrad to come on to get this weird suspicion that Vigilante is going to try and take on Peacemaker, and Vigilante is going to be killed by Peacemaker. I don't know why. I'm just trusting in the Force on that one.
It's not a bad guess, especially when you think that this is a James Gunn run show. We know that no one's safe in the Suicide Squad. Yeah. You would imagine the similar rules would transfer over to this show. I guess Peacemaker survives unless it's a prequel. So there's
yeah,
that.
which even then,
Yeah, exactly.
who the hell knows?
So moving right along, we have more live action to speak of here, Thomas.
Oh yes, I'll
a-
take this one.
I will say this is a favorite of mine growing up.
Mine
Totally
too.
Yeah, totally a favorite. I love the Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch.
Family. So the news is John M. Chu is in talks to direct the live action Lilo and Stitch movie. This is coming courtesy of the Hollywood Reporter. John M. Chu is gearing up for, that's not what I meant to read at all. Excuse me. Stitch was initially being developed as a possible feature for Disney Plus. Just based on the fact that it's John M. Chu, who was the director for Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
It's likely going to be pushed more for the theatrical side, but it all depends on where things lie in the next 5 years when it actually comes out. He recently boarded the Willow series for Disney, made by Lucasfilm, as director and executive producer. And his movie Crazy Rich Asians grossed over $238 million in 2018. And he also executive produced and directed episodes of Apple's Plus TV, whatever that name is, series of Home Before Dark. So that's all we got on that news.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
Here's my thing. I don't know if I really need a Lilo and Stitch remake live action. This is just... I'm not surprised because this is what Disney's doing now. They're rehashing all of these Disney movies and making $1 billion off of them. It's a business move, you know? I mean, I've enjoyed some of the remakes. I enjoyed Lion King. I enjoyed Aladdin. I don't plan on seeing Mulan.
Wow, so you don't even plan on it when it's free?
I heard some like questionable stuff about it, man. I don't know. I don't know if you like read some of those articles, but anyway.
It's okay. You'll bring it up in a minute.
Yeah, so anywho, there's some that I've liked. Like I said, I enjoyed Lion King. I liked Aladdin. I'm trying to think of the other ones that what are the other remakes that happened? There was Jungle Book. I like Jungle Book.
Dumbo,
I didn't like. Then that needed to be left alone.
I'm not a Tim Burton fan, so I heard it's the most anti-Disney movie, so that kind of enticed me to want to go see it.
But it wasn't that well told. I liked Michael Keaton in it. But the kid actors weren't great, and you know when kid actors are just bad in a film, it's like, oh, great, you have to work with this the entire movie. Seriously though,
jeez Louise, yo, you better watch out over here, baby. He's not a fan. That's right. I took a dark saber out. So we'll take a quick moment to shout out Brian Wenzeloff from Reels and Heels. He's actually the one who brought this up on my radar this week. He was trying to do a live show on Saturday, but I was busy Saturday, so I couldn't hop in, and I didn't see the post until after because I've been terrible about checking Facebook as of late. But that means we're going to take our first ad break, and we're going to take our first ad break for Reels and Heels, and you'll get to learn a little bit more about what they do right now.
That was great.
And we're back. Which
can we say who made that?
Yeah, Josh Bauer of JBauerArt made that, actually.
Yeah. And Back Talk with Bauer. Check that out too.
And Back Talk with Bauer. Yes. He makes pretty much all of the good stuff right now.
Shout out Josh.
Shout out Josh
to when you guys should go watch our our Into the Spider-Verse watch along from back
Yes.
a few months ago. We had Josh on. Was that on our channel? Yeah, it was.
It was indeed. Well, it was on the HWWS TV.
Yeah.
And it was where we normally stream. I don't know why I changed things in my head. I'm sorry. Yes. So coming up next, we have nothing but thunder.
Yeah, guys.
I'm gonna take this because
Take it.
I question some stuff. Okay. So this week, Chris Pratt is going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" We already talked about this, right?
Yeah, this has already been. I mean,
okay, so I didn't drop into an alternate universe of a Mandela effect where it hasn't come out yet, because I've been worried about this all weekend. And I'm like, guys, why is it all of a sudden like it was? Vin Diesel said this was happening.
Yeah. No, I mean, we knew that they were joining the Suicide Squad. Or the Suicide Squad. We knew that we were joining.
Wow.
Whoa. James Gunn. Sorry, James Gunn's on the brain. We knew Guardians pretty much was going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder. That came out months ago, but it wasn't confirmed or anything. And it wasn't specific. Because this news is coming from him actually being cast and joining the set, like getting ready to be on set for Thor: Love and Thunder. So it's a separate report in that sense, where this is a little more concrete. While before the report was just, hey, the Guardians are going to apparently be in part of the movie. While this is, Chris Pratt is in the film, period. So I guess like I see what you're saying. So it's the news isn't that shocking. It's just nice to reiterate and hear that yes, it is happening. Pratt is there. More of a confirmation that it's really truly happening. When that report was seeming like we all kind of knew after Endgame that this was probably the case. I mean, the fact of the matter that Guardians 3 was initially supposed to be the first Phase 4 film. That was the OG plan.
Back in the day, and then they fired James Gunn. Then James Gunn came back, but before that, he signed up for the Suicide Squad. So now, Guardians is way pushed back. So I think they definitely had to mix around that story a bit, which I want to talk about more with the MCU in a bit. What a foreshadow.
Yes. But yeah, so Chris Pratt, bottom line is he's casted. You can continue on with the news.
And Vin Diesel is apparently in Australia, and people are like, oh, he's going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder. Well, he already kind of said that. His official quote was, Thor will also, the director talked to me about Thor will incorporate some of the Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what we spoke about before. It sounds like because of what he said before that Groot's going to be involved. Him being in Australia, I don't actually think matters whatsoever because he's a voiceover and you can do it in your own closet these days. In fact, a lot of voice
goes on set.
Yeah. So, whatever it is, what it is.
He doesn't do any
he does nothing.
Yeah, he's not. What's James Gunn's brother? Oh my gosh.
Not
David Gunn.
No,
it's like. Dang it, guys! What's James Gunn's brother's name? He plays Kraglin, right?
Yeah, he plays Kraglin. James Gunn. It is. I think it's R. I could be wrong.
Sean Gunn. Sean Gunn. Shout out to Sean Gunn, who does like the mocap for Rocket, plays Kraglin. What a guy. He's there always on set, and Vin Diesel's never there. Same with Bradley Cooper. Thank you, Terry.
Yes.
Sean Gunn.
You're just like, oh, Sean Gunn. So, it's interesting that we're getting this Thor news because we also have a little bit of news about his brother. Loki.
Yes, we do.
The little frost giant.
You know what's upsetting? Random aside, just thinking about that segue. This is probably gonna be the first Thor movie with no Loki. Maybe.
Will it?
It's looking that way, though.
Is it though? Doesn't Doctor Strange come out before Thor?
Yes. So
We know
he
Loki's in it, so
right.
I'm not worried. They got to get the money makers. And Taika's been very tight-lipped on whether or not Loki will or will not be in there. He's like, well, no matter what I say, it's a spoiler. And I'm like, ooh.
So anyway, we have a Loki update for you all, which is update anywhere in the MCU is,
Fiendishly.
Yeah, we're getting a little antsy here. But anyway, so the bottom line of this news is that Loki is still projected to come out sometime in 2021. There's a lot of movement that could still happen with the MCU and their Disney Plus shows and movies and all that. So we don't know.
Mhm.
The good news about Loki, outside of this news, in my opinion, is just that it's Elseworld enough where it drops isn't probably as problematic than some other shows that are super connected and in a timeline sense. Where like Loki can be connected, but if you saw it before or after, might not really matter as much. You might just need to see some stuff later to get, if Loki comes back and stuff like that. So we got an update. It's from a producer, I think. Victoria Alonso, and she basically also said that on track for 2021 with Disney Plus now, as we know with WandaVision, we're going to get to, they are shying away from dropping dates for them. Any date nowadays on movies seems tentative, which sucks. But literally I would advise anyone listening that if you see a movie drop with a date that's coming out in 2020 or 2021, or 2021 or 2022, I would put a question mark next to it because that's the world we live in now. We'll see what really happens. But anyway, she says projected for 2021, still with the premiere of Loki on Disney Plus. But they still have 4 to 5 weeks of shooting left. So Loki is still in production. They're still filming. Hopefully everything on set's going well. We know Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings went excellent to finish up their shooting. They had no COVID tests during that whole filming, which is great. When we've seen a lot of other movies have to shut down, we had the Batman. We had Witcher recently had to close down production because there was a COVID outbreak. So shout out to them. They're working through it. Loki should be coming out still in 2021, which would set up. I saw this earlier, earlier this week when they announced WandaVision. Currently there are 8 MCU shows and or movies set for 2021 as of right this second.
Mhm.
I'll be honest, I doubt that stays. But Thomas, let's stay on Loki. What did you think of all this?
Good.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
good.
It's positive news, and these days that's all we can ask for,
We need all the positive news.
Yeah, exactly.
We just need it.
But again, of course, we have more Disney Plus to talk about here. We have more MCU. With this new generation of the MCU coming out, we have a new Hawkeye potentially. We have the Hawkeye show coming. Jeremy Renner is back, and the speculation has been off the charts about Haley Steinfeld being Kate Bishop from day one. But now it's looking more and more likely as every day goes on. I know recently, I forget who, Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner, followed someone on Instagram, and that made it indicate that, they're gearing up for this. But anyway, let's read this article. Let me read the first bit of this article from comicbookmovie.com. There have been conflicting reports about Haley Steinfeld's involvement with the upcoming Disney Plus Hawkeye series. Since we first heard the news, she was in talks for the role of Kate Bishop, with comments from the actress herself casting doubt on her ability to commit to the role. However, we now have some pretty compelling evidence that the Academy Award nominated True Grit star may have closed the deal to join the cast of the Marvel show. As you can see, this is exactly the news. As you can see, Hawkeye directors Burton Bertie, aka longtime creative collaborators, Amber Finlayson. Sorry, I'm terrible naming names. You could check any episode of this entire show and you know I'm terrible at reading names. And Katie Elwood have followed both Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner on Instagram. So basically the directors have followed Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld on Instagram. And it's a bit of a stretch, but it's funny. This reminds me a lot of sports. And in a lot of times people monitor this Giannis Antetokounmpo unfollowed all of his Bucks teammates or this or that. And it's sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. And this is
True.
one where we're desperate for news in the MCU. We're desperate for any kind of Disney Plus, MCU, anything that you see this and it's like, hey, maybe, Haley Steinfeld really is Kate Bishop, as it's been rumored for so long. So just on that news, Thomas, what'd you think, or what are your thoughts on this whole, the directors following them, and if it means anything at all?
I think it means something. I'll be honest. I definitely just need Marvel right now. Give me my Marvel drugs, please. I'm going through withdrawal. We'll get to that later. I'm gonna speed through the next part of the Hawkeye news. In the comics, Clinton Barton became deaf at a certain point. He lost his hearing due to an explosion is my guess, because I have not read that arc. Also, that's when Kate Bishop became a thing. It's rumored that Jeremy Renner is going to be portraying that version of Hawkeye, where he will now not be able to hear. He'll be able to speak because he lost his hearing late, but he'll have to use ASL, American Sign Language. Yes, he'll probably have to use American Sign Language to do that, to communicate, which would be really cool. That'll
really
be
interesting if we go this
inclusive thing. David, because I'm ready to get the WandaVision is going to be long, so
the WandaVision is here, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming. What?
It's coming. It's coming up next. But remember this morning how you were like the Disney Plus? I made the Disney Plus.
Oh, you added the Disney Plus.
I added the Disney Plus.
Wait, do we have the link?
Nope, because you sent it to me and I forgot to add it. Ladies and gentlemen, so the I'll lead into this while David finds the link.
Yes.
This is going to be the speculation section of What the News. We should call it What the Speculation. Ooh.
What the Speculation. That's
son of a bitch. I just accidentally named a segment. Okay. What the Speculation. So Black Widow, it was supposed to come out this year 5 different times. It hasn't come out. I need it. Okay, I'll be okay. The fact of the matter is, it's supposed to come out next year, allegedly. The way things are looking, that's not going to be possible. So Disney is looking about the best way to move forward with Black Widow. David has brought some interesting news to us.
Yes.
And this is going to lead to where the speculation begins.
Yeah, guys. So, Disney CEO, their new CEO, actually, what's his name? Let me make sure I get his name right here.
Chapek.
Bob Chapek. He had some interesting quotes, and we've talked about this a lot on the show. Of Mulan's premiere access release on Disney Plus. There's been very not confirming article, like. What's the word I want to say? Like some articles that you can't really put all your trust in that have been saying how well Mulan did on Disney Plus with the premiere access status. And we really don't know because it's all private. Like it's not a box office where we see the results for everyone, which I miss. And honestly, part of the reason that I don't like everything going to streaming, it seems like, is that you can't see those kinds of numbers. You don't know what's really happening. Well, at least when you have the box office, you have some idea. But anyway, he had some really interesting quotes. He basically said, he recently was talking, and they had this big, shareholder meeting. Yeah, it's investor call in December. It's December 10th, and it's a big deal. Last year when it happened, it's like a live public thing. Last year when they had the call, like Moon Knight was announced, Miss Marvel was announced, She-Hulk. So some big things can be announced on that day. That was at
D23.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, well, I think maybe
they released snippets of information that to us fans we knew what it meant.
Right.
To everybody else, they didn't know.
So anyway, let me read some of this quote because it's really fascinating. I think it might lead to our speculation here of Black Widow. So here we go from Bob Chapek. From a studio content standpoint, we were very pleased with the results of Mulan on a premiere access title. Oh my gosh, that was long. Unfortunately, that title met with some controversy, both in the US and internationally, shortly after we released it. But we saw enough positive results before that controversy started to know that we've got something here in terms of the Premier Access strategy. That's important. Before that controversy started, we've got something here in terms of, they knew we've got something here in terms of the Premier Access strategy. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about that at the investor conference in December. So this is, to me, opening my eyes to, we should be like, get ready for LTA after that investor meeting, because I think we'll have some news for you guys. And I'm done reading the article. I'm just gonna get to what I think. I think this could mean Black Widow's coming to Disney Plus and before May. I think they could be like, it's coming out, after WandaVision, because also rumors I've been hearing and reading online is that Falcon and Winter Soldier needs to come out after WandaVision. That is
after Black Widow.
After Black Widow. That Falcon and Winter Soldier is connected to Black Widow in some way, where the story, the story that Black Widow tells is a setup in some ways for Falcon and Winter Soldier, which sounds great. Sounds like we're back in the MCU.
You know what it is, right?
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts!
The day one,
bro.
I know, and we're gonna have this hill with us forever if these things ever come out. Anyway, I just think so. This is very fascinating. We're gonna look out for that investors conference meeting, because this is my idea, and this is what I think could be their thinking, is that they now suddenly have 8 pieces of content that's supposed to be released in 2021, right? And it's uncertain right now with the way COVID's going. Hey, I mean, we'll see in a few months, in 3, 4, like, we don't know what we're getting more and more good vaccine news lately, but we're also getting not great news of numbers going up and cases rising. So we have like a future outlook that seems promising with these vaccines coming out, but in the present time, we don't know how these cases rising are going to affect the movie theaters opening back up anytime soon. And it will affect obviously a lot more than just Black Widow. We have movies that are set to come out. We have Wonder Woman still set to come out in Christmas Day. We'll see how that goes. But I think that Disney, with them shifting their whole, they're trying to put more emphasis on streaming, and the fact that Disney Plus has just become like a Mandalorian streaming service in some ways for a lot of people. I think that they could use this opportunity to do something with it. They could also open up in theaters as well as Disney Plus. I would not be surprised, everyone, if on December 10th, when that investor meeting is, we get a March whatever Premier Access Black Widow announcement. It would not surprise me in the least at this point, because they could not come out in May. They could just still have, they could do WandaVision, Black Widow on Disney Plus. Then they could do Falcon Winter Soldier on Disney Plus, and they could still have Shang-Chi in July. And you would think bumping time to July would give them that, all right, by July, we can pack a theater, hopefully. Better odds, I guess, than May. I hope it comes out in theater, because I love the theater, and I don't really want to watch Black Widow on my laptop. I would, though. I would immediately.
TV, bro.
I know. I'd put it on my TV. I'm kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, I always watch Mandalorian on like my phone or my laptop. It's just kind of like easier. But I will say, I am excited that we could get Black Widow earlier because of this, potentially. Then May, considering we've been waiting, it'll be a full year if we have to wait all the way until May. But I don't know.
That would be 2 years.
Well, yeah,
basically since Avengers.
Yeah, for a movie. I mean, just like since Black Widow was supposed to come out. Last May. Yeah. So Thomas, sorry, I'm talking way too much. What did you think of all this? It's a lot to kind of take in, and it's very. The way he's speaking seems like he wants to use it more, even though they're not using it for Soul. And that makes me think it could be for a bigger movie like a Black Widow instead of like a little Pixar film that could be a nice exclusive on Disney Plus that people would sign up for the program for.
Yes. No, I agree. I mean, Soul being free for regular subscribers or being no extra charge is enough reason to pull in subscribers. Putting Black Widow exclusively on air would pull in even more subscribers. However, I am not sure. I don't remember when Mulan became available on VOD.
Yeah.
But if it's like 2 weeks, there's a chance I'd wait 2 weeks just to get it for $10 cheaper on Vudu.
I don't remember exactly. I remember people were upset though that it was soon after, and you could just buy it on, Vudu or Amazon or Google.
Because you're saving money.
Right. And you don't why do you need to go access Disney Plus for it? It'll be on Disney Plus in 4 months, and then it'll just be there forever. I could agree. I think they would have a better, because that was an experiment, right? That was their first try. I think that was the purpose of putting Mulan out on the Premier Access, was just giving it a shot, seeing how it would do. They're Disney. They're a big business. They can take risks like that, even though they're losing a ton of money because of COVID. They'll bounce back. They have these huge properties that are going to be coming out soon. The parks will get back to business in the next year.
They'll be fine. They're all fine here now. How are you? Really quick, while we're on this, female superhero going to a streaming thing, there was talkings that we're just gonna glance over this one because we have so much stuff to discuss. Wonder Woman 84 is either going to release in January or go to HBO Max.
Yeah, and there's speculation that it could do a dual release where it is open in theaters, some areas, and then also for VOD, which I think is a strategy we haven't seen yet, but I think should be a thing now. Let people that want to stay home watch it and pay the 20 or whatever dollars, and let people that feel comfortable going to the theater and want to see it in theaters go see it. I thought that could have been a smart idea for Tenet, but that wasn't the way they did it.
Haven't they reached someone reached a deal recently with AMC in a similar deal with Universal? Wasn't it Warner Brothers?
No, I don't think it was Warner Brothers. There was that Universal deal though.
But there was
AMC.
one like a couple.
There's another one.
We covered it on the show. I just don't remember who it was.
Oh,
anyways, moving on. WandaVision.
Yes. We have a lot of, like we said, we teased at the end of last episode. We kind of got breaking news at the very end that we have the EW Entertainment Weekly cover for WandaVision, and now we are officially. This is what I really want to talk about. I'll get to some quotes and stuff later, just because there's a lot coming out. But the big news that we really have kind of buried is just that WandaVision is coming out January 15th. We have a set date for a Disney Plus TV show. Which is fantastic. We've got none of those so far. We used to have an August for Falcon Winter Soldier. That magically poofed away. But anyway, we have a January 15th release date. I believe it's a Friday. I'll make sure while you share your thoughts. But yeah, January 15th, WandaVision. It'll be a few weeks after Mandalorian. It is on a Friday. Yes, Thomas, we're getting WandaVision 2021, starting off the new year. What are your thoughts?
Listen, Disney, I understand that you're having a financially difficult year. Aren't we all? I need my Marvel drugs. Stop playing with me. Give it to me, Disney. Give me the Marvel drugs. That is all.
Yeah, so Thomas is the guy who was like, "Oh, Thanksgiving, maybe."
I'm so mad. I'm dead. I'm dead on that hill. I died on a lot of hills this week. I've been very upset, but it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was one that thought it would come out. When is the last week of Mandalorian? Do we have any idea? You would have any idea.
It's the week before Christmas. I do.
Okay, so yeah, there's like a 3-week gap, or I guess maybe 4-week gap between Mando and WandaVision. That makes sense to me. Keep people on the service. Say, hey, come back in a few weeks, and we have WandaVision. Like don't cancel immediately after Mandalorian, which is probably a lot of people did last year. And so I think it's a good move.
I think last week we broke it down based on the dates, and I said that it might come out. If it doesn't come out on that day in November, it'll be coming out. I said January 8th. That was a week off.
Right. So later next year.
And I think the reason it's not the 8th is because of football.
Yeah, that'll probably be a big week for Saturday. Yeah.
There's supposed to be playoffs.
True.
Allegedly, I just 2020 has given me worse trust issues than I already had.
Yeah, no, seriously.
The only thing I could count on was movies, and now
don't even have that.
Yep.
So quickly, let's get to. Well, I want to get to
quote and quotables.
I just want to throw out just a few some things that came out of the EW article. Go read it fully if you want to get all of it. But so one thing that we recently got from Paul Bettany is that the movie is going to take place over 5 decades. You know, it's going to be a weird show, ladies and gentlemen, but like it's going to be this oddly like meta. That there was a quote from Elizabeth Olsen where it feels so weird. Like it was an interesting experience doing a show like a sitcom where, you know, her sisters are obviously extremely famous for their role on Full House, and like it's kind of making fun in a way, but also paying homage to these eras. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they're all going to be in this show. And I can't wait. You know, I love sitcoms. Like I love Full House and all that. So I think it'll be really fun to see these different things and also see the Marvel side of it. Also a little, you know, tidbit of news that was fun. Episode 1 of the show was filmed in front of a live studio audience. It was filmed actually in black and white. They painted Vision blue because it showed up better in black and white. So a lot of fun little stuff coming out in it, which is just great to see and great to hear. This show's going to be quite a ride. And a big part of it is Kevin Feige, obviously our main man here.
Our Lord and Savior.
He was one of the first people that came up with the idea of having a Wanda and Vision show, and that idea of just those two characters. And here's a quote from him. Just talking about the show in general. It really energized everyone creatively at the studio. The notion that we could play in a new medium and throw the rules out the window in terms of structure and format. And that's what we're getting here with WandaVision. You know, it's not going to be a Black Widow or Falcon Winter Soldier. That'll feel very familiar. It'll feel very MCU action. Cannot wait for both of those, right? Because that's what we know. That's what we love. It's in our wheelhouse. That's why they were going to start off Phase 4, I think, because they're the safer bets, right?
Yeah.
Their characters we probably know a bit better and all these certain things. Well, WandaVision is this crazy, honestly, it's a crazy, just fun idea that's going to set up Multiverse of Madness. That's really all it is.
It's the show 2020 deserved.
Unfortunately, it's coming out in 2021, but
Nikes.
I just think I'm really excited for this show. I've everything coming out of the EW article and just leading up to it, the teasers, all this certain stuff. Like it's gonna be a fun ride. I can't wait for the end of it. There was more chatter about how it's connected to Multiverse of Madness, which we all know. We all can't wait for. And unfortunately, originally, Doctor Strange was come out a lot sooner. After WandaVision was going to be a lot closer, but we'll have to wait now. But that's all good. We've waited long enough. Finally, in 2 months from now, we will be getting WandaVision and talking about it on the show for sure.
Did you just say that's fine? It's not fine, David. Why did you say that?
I think it's fine. I like having actually. At this point, I'm just not taking anything for granted. I'm grateful that Mando's here. I'm grateful there's an actual solid, what feels like a solid date for WandaVision. No more delays. No more reshoots. Or
definitely a solid date.
Yeah, you know, we had the whole Entertainment Weekly, which is as solid as it really gets. I don't know. I just am excited that we finally have something concrete when it comes to the MCU. It's not how they were supposed to start the Phase 4. But it is how it's going to, and everything happens for a reason. So here we go.
I think it's the best way to start Phase 4.
It'll be a fun ride, right?
Because it'll take. It's gonna just be so. It's a mystery. Like the whole show is a mystery in terms of what we know is gonna happen, and for each character, they have to unravel this mystery that they're living through. So it's incredible. It's the best way to start because I feel like every movie is we kind of have an idea of what to expect. But I think deep down, we genuinely don't have an idea whatsoever on what to expect.
Yeah, and I think another part of it was that I believe somewhere, I think I'm getting the number right. It's going to be like a 6-hour long movie is how Elizabeth Olsen described it, where, it'll be however, we don't even know how many episodes it's going to be yet, but it's only going to be 6 hours. And that'll be the show, that'll be the story. We'll get in and out in 6 hours. And I can't wait, man. I just am super excited for it.
I'm so excited. We're going to take a quick moment. We're going to take another ad break as we get set up to talk Mando. We would say Mando Mondays, but I don't want to get sued by Disney. So
we probably get sued.
Mando on Monday. Again, if you would like, it's a great day for Mando. If you would like to contribute and sponsor Lights Thunder Action, please reach out to us. Our email is lightsthunderaction@gmail.com. I don't think we've ever said our email here, David, once before. Why didn't we do this? This is
we should add to our little graphic
marketing. Lightsthunderaction@gmail.com and reach out to us. We'll get you with pricing. Until then, we will support our friends and advertise our friends, such as Josh Bauer with JBauerArt. And we are back. David, check the private chat. I just sent you notes, by the way.
Copy.
There's a video. Oh, there's a video, you said. Okay, sorry, everyone. David just sent me a text really quick about Zack Snyder, and there's a video of him talking about Leto and such, so I got excited. This is now the creme de la creme of our weekly show, and baby, right here. For those of you listening, what you don't realize is I have a Sideshow collectible Baby Yoda sitting next to me.
Yes.
And so I keep pointing at it, and you can't see me point at it. So that's unfortunate for you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Mando on Mondays. Ladies and gentlemen, this was chapter 11. I planned ahead. I wrote a lot of notes down. I am going to try and get through the retelling of this episode at a record time for us. David, go ahead and start a timer and time me. I'm trying to do this in less than 5 minutes. Good luck to us all.
Sounds good.
The episode opens up. We're dropping right into Trask. Literally, we're dropping right into Trask. And honestly, all I could think was, okay.
You got this all lined up.
I just added that one. Because the other ones I haven't cut up yet. I forgot. Whoops. But yeah, all I could think was, this is tense. And then I laughed, and my dad looked at me really weird, and he's like, what? And I was like, I just thought of what Star Wars quote was. So this is awesome. It also, it's an homage to Apollo 13.
Yes.
With Bryce Dallas Howard directed this episode. Her dad directed that, and it also reminded me of Revenge of the Sith. It was just a lot of fun. falling in. And then, of course, it like makes a genuine fart noise and falls into the water. And then it cuts to title card. And then the title comes up, The Heiress. And boy, oh boy, did I know what was about to happen. Yeah. I instantly was just like, oh, so we're getting spoiler alert. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not already know, we're going to spoil this entire episode. So if you've not watched Mandalorian season 2, episode
3,
chapter 11. Thank you. I needed that help.
Yep.
Then all I'm going to say is aggressive spoiler alert because it's starting now. I knew Bo-Katan was coming on and I was all sorts of jazzed. But and the title really gave it away to me. It was kind of a bummer. Baby Yeet gets chowder. I totally skipped. Frog Lady and Frogman reunite, and it is the most touching thing ever. David, what did you think of the Frog family?
It helped Frog Lady out a lot. I like her now. Like that whole thing was so cute, and the babies get a little tadpole at the end, and it's like,
oh my god,
Baby Yoda like pooped out a few of you earlier, but yeah, anyway.
Wow. Okay. Not wrong, you little son of a bitch. He gets chowder. He gets chowder, and inside of it is a fracking face hugger. Which was our second straight alien reference in consecutive episodes, because that hive thing was apparently like alien thing. Someone told me. I've not seen Aliens. I'm not a fan of scaries. Then we've he's gonna get on a boat to find the Mandos. Mando is on the boat, and having seen the trailer, I knew instantly that he would end up in the water, because I remembered that shot from the trailer. Did I know that they were gonna knock Baby Yeet in? No. Would I have been pissed either way? Yes.
Yeah. Dude, I was gonna say, well, have we gotten there yet? Did we just say it where like he gets trapped when they kick Baby? Dude, you want to talk about like jaw dropping, like audible, like holy shit! I mean, like when that happened, I was funny. I was talking to my girlfriend Jasmine's her brother, because he's like really into Star Wars, and he knows everything. He's watched Clone Wars and Rebels and everything.
Very nice.
Yeah, he tells me I should watch Rebels, and I'm like, yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
I know, I'm kidding. I do need to, but he was saying, he's like, yeah, like I literally stood up and screamed when that happened, and just it was scary. It was genuinely scary. Like the thing takes down Baby Yoda, he closes the thing, thank goodness. And then Mando's stuck under there, and they're like looking to kill him. I genuinely you knew he was gonna get out or whatever. Like you always kind of have that in the back of your head, but the storytelling and the way they had it was scary. The angles and just the way it looked, like genuinely, I was like fearing for both their lives in that moment, which you wouldn't think at when it was like 7 a.m. I'm sitting there watching on my phone, being like, oh my gosh, it's actually happening. But that's part of why I think this episode was so good. It had a fast pace, real, tense moments happen, and there was real levity, like where it's like, holy crap, like what's actually happening here? What are they doing? Like, and it was just like, I think they were going for that, the stun factor of like Baby Yoda, because everyone in America, that's like anyone in the world, it's like the prize treasure, is freaking Baby Yoda. And I was getting eaten by this thing. So anyway, that was, I thought, one of the best parts of the film or the movie, just because of the storytelling element. It was scary as heck. Episode. I genuinely was like, what's happening? And it was terrified. But the next part makes it just the best.
And what happens next? Mandos fly in to save them. And instantaneously, as soon as we saw that helmet, I was like,
dude. That's what I texted you first, I think.
Yeah. I knew instantly based on the helmet. I was like, that's Bo-Katan, dude.
Yeah.
She has the night owls. Oh, I forgot to actually click the damn button. You can't see it there. There we go. That's the one. That's it.
Yep.
That's the other one. So she has the night owl emblem kind of painted onto her helm. And I screamed. Not as loud, because I was watching it at lunch with my dad, and he would have been like, the fuck you screaming about? And I was like, you'll find out. I was like, I know. And I started just gripping my hands really tightly because I was super nervous. But anyways, we get 3 Mandos flying in. One is Bo-Katan Kryze. one is Axe Woves, one is Casca Reeves. Casca Reeves is played by Sasha Banks.
Yes, that's her character, finally.
I said she'd either be a good guy or a bad guy, right? She's kind of a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
not bad, but like badass.
Yeah, a little gray area. You know,
a solid gray area.
Yeah.
But she turns out to not be Sabine, but she is a Mando. So that's 50%, right? That's kind of nice.
It's kind of it's halfway there.
It's halfway there. Wow. Back to the plot. Then he goes into he's a damn bro. Okay, first off, Mando is a broken record. We'll learn why in a minute. But he says, I have been quested to bring this child to, and he gets cut off because they take their helmets off. And then he says, where did you get that armor? Granted, in this situation, the last time he'd seen someone with Mando armor take their helmet off, they were not a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And he just got attacked with people trying to steal his Beskar.
Yep.
So in this case, I was like, all right, that's fair. And then, you know, we have a nice little Dink Ferrick. He's one of them. And then she says, the Children of the Watch are a cult of religious zealots that broke away from the Mandalore society. Their goal was to reestablish the ancient way. Mando says, there is only one way, the way of the Mandalore. Ladies and gentlemen, mark that in your brains because that's getting saved. Why? Multiple reasons. We're going to continue on. Mando flies back because he's a pissy little guy. He gets surrounded by Corn and gets saved by the Mandos again with a nice shootout. They offer to buy him a drink, then they go inside. We find out Bo-Katan is retaking Mandalore to put a new Mandalore on the throne.
Yep.
Thomas, what is a Mandalore? A Mandalore, well, the planet is Mandalore.
Yeah.
They're retaking the planet Mandalore to put a new Mandalore on the throne. The noun version is the title that they give for the ruler of the planet and the people. The ruler of all Mandalorians is called the Mandalore. That is their title. Why is this important? Fan Thor, coming at you later. Bo-Katan says she knows a Jedi, but Mando has to help them on a job. What a classic season 2 plot point, right?
Yeah.
Then we get some badass Mando versus Imperial action. So the freighter is a Rebels tie-in. The stormtrooper flying and being stuck to the window and flying off as they fly away. That's something straight from Rebels as well. Damn it, David, watch Rebels. Anyways, Titus Welliver shows up and he's playing. So first off, if you don't know who Titus Welliver is, he is the man in black from Lost. He's been in a lot of other things. That's the one that I know off the top of my head as easily. The whole time I was like, oh my God, it's that guy. Oh my God, where do I know him from? It took me a long time to just shut my brain up and watch the show. He plays an Imperial, which is very obvious. We're going to just skip ahead really quick because while we're talking about the Imperials, there's a moment that comes where the Mandos have taken everything but the bridge, and he calls Moff Gideon. He relays this information. I need reinforcements immediately. Moff Gideon says, you know that if that's how far they've gotten, they cannot be stopped. You know what to do.
Yes.
Everybody, these two guys, these two pilots, if you look in this picture, they already are starting to get the oh God, we're about to die look in their eyes because he pulls a blaster and he shoots both of them point blank and kills them. Then he starts a nosedive.
Yeah.
But before all of this is done and before Moff Gideon leaves, he says, long live the Empire.
Yes, bro.
David, what did you think of this moment of long live the Empire?
I mean, it was a great line, right? Let's start there. Like a great line and a great tie-in to Star Wars in general and showing that there are still, factions and remnants of the Empire still in this galaxy, and they're still loyalists to the Empire, they would kill themselves for it. They still believe in the cause. Yes. They still believe in the Empire. It's what they hold on to. And I thought that it was great to see that. It's always fun to see, especially because we love the original trilogy so much, like tie-ins to that. and the Empire. And this is, and we know what comes, 2 decades later with the First Order and all this stuff. And it's like, they're still holding on to the Empire. I loved, just sitting here, like listening to you run through this episode. It's unreal to me to think about, I don't know, just how quickly this episode moved this time. Like they made it short for a reason. They wanted to tell a lot of a story in a short amount of time and give you a lot of action and a lot of fun, like flashing, like tidbits and Easter eggs. And I thought that this part in the ship with Moff Gideon coming in on it was very, very reminiscent of what we've seen in like Rogue One or the original trilogy. And yeah, I really enjoyed all this part. I loved seeing like like few areas still around. It was cool. That will like, what else? Anyway,
you know what else it looked like? It looked it was reminiscent of this little clip right here. I got it up. I'm not as quick as the first time, but were you able to hear that?
Yeah.
That, I think, is the first plantings of the seeds for the First Order. Was that "Long Live the Empire"?
Right.
I think, because they said that it's going to plant the seeds to the sequel trilogy, and I think that's one of those seeds.
Yeah, no, that's true, because that is like the exact same line, but just different context and a different time, but similar, I guess, thoughts there.
Yeah, similar moment behind it, really. Yeah. Continuing on, well, after jumping backwards a little bit in the episode, the Mandos take the cargo bay, and Bo-Katan says, "There is something I need if I am to rule Mandalore, something that was once mine. They know where it is, and soon so will I." Then she says, they're going to take the ship. Mando's like, "What are you talking about? We're taking the ship. This isn't a part of the deal. You're changing the terms of the agreement." And she snarkily looks at him and goes, "This is the way."
Yeah.
So is "this is the way" a cult saying? It seems like it's the way.
It's cult. It's like a part of what Mando, like what we were saying, like the Watch. It's like the Watch. That's their whole thing. This is the way. Bringing back the ancient, way of doing things. Exactly. This is the way.
But they were also called a cult of religious zealots. So like they're a cult, dude. We have been indoctrinated into the ancient way of the Mandalore.
That's what Bo-Katan says, she's
hold on.
Clearly critical.
Yeah, of course she's critical. Bro, did you not watch Clone Wars?
Yes, I've seen Clone Wars, but
that's why we have to trust her. Like, listen, she was a part of Death Watch, right?
Yeah.
And so now there's children of the Watch, right?
Right.
Obviously, she was a part of Death Watch. She's not a part of Children of the Watch. She's going to have this negative view. It does sound cultish.
Right. It does.
There's other lines in there as well that now I'm going to have to go find that and pull back up really quick.
But Mando, he's kind of ignorant of it all, because that's he wasn't even he's not even a Mandalorian by blood. He was just picked up and raised in this way, so
exactly.
Yeah,
but it's still a cult.
It's still okay. I will say, like, sure, for argument's sake, like, sure, yeah, it's cult. I thought, like, just adding the element of in this show of that. Wait. In the context of this show, that there are other Mandalorians and there's other ways of being a Mandalorian. Because in this show, fundamentally, can't take off the helmet. Exactly. This is the way. All these certain things where we've gotten so accustomed to that in this storytelling. It's so fun to bring in these characters from other Mandalorian canon that we have from the past and bringing it in and showing us a different perspective that we already kind of knew, but it's clashing with what we already know from this show that we've gotten so used to.
Yes. There it is. Found the quote. So the Mando stormed the bridge, and then Bo-Katan says, "The Darksaber, does he have it?" So we went from, "I need something if I'm to rule Mandalore," and maybe not you, I, as a fan of Rebels knows that anyone who holds the Darksaber is the one who rules Mandalore.
Yeah.
Then they straight up, they straight up just tell us what she's looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
And ironically, the people I was watching, I was like, do you guys know what the Darksaber is? And they're like, no. And I was like, did you see the end of season 1? Yeah. You saw the guy come out of the TIE fighter? Yeah. With the saber? Yeah. That's the Darksaber. And they're like, oh, like I had to plot point it for them.
Yeah.
Then she basically tells Titus Welliver's character that she's going to lead him. He's going to lead her to Moff Gideon. And she's like, and I'll let you live. He says, you might let me live, but he won't. And he takes a bite on a suicide electro pill.
Yeah.
Which was really cool, really exciting, different take on things.
Yeah.
And then Bo-Katan, eventually we get to the point, she drops the information we've all been waiting for. She is quoted as saying, take the foundling to the city of Caledon on the forest planet of Corvus. There you will find Ahsoka Tano. Tell her you were sent by Bo-Katan. And thank you. Your bravery will not be forgotten. This is the way. And
this is the way. It was like not his way. This is the way.
Yeah. It's like bravery is the way. That is the way of Mandalore,
dude.
And it's like,
yes. And it's funny. The text I was sending you, like after that, I'm like, oh, so good. The Ahsoka name drop. It's just like, book it. It's coming. We've been hearing all the rumors and the reports, but it's like when you actually see it in the show, it just
feels good.
Yeah, it does feel good. And it's
feels
like,
good.
Holy crap, she's really coming. We're really getting Ahsoka in this show, in this world, in live action. It doesn't feel real in some ways, you know? I mean, this has been
Marvel's let us down. But Mandalorian, baby, has
Mando's still here for us. Yeah.
Mando's the show that 2020 we really needed. Okay, David, I have some discussion questions. Do you want to do them now or after my tinfoil hat fan theory?
Let's do them now.
Let's do them now. Do you think Ahsoka shows up in our next episode?
No, because I think the next episode is going to be similar to episode 2, where it's another side quest, right? That's kind of how the show goes. I can't imagine all of a sudden we're getting Ahsoka. I think there's a better odds we see Boba Fett, because I think they might, try to. They think we're gonna zig and they zag. That's how the show goes, right? Like it feels like we're going somewhere, and I've gotten used to it, right? I've complained about how like the story stops for a while and you get back and there's like filler, but I honestly I've gotten used to the rhythm now, and it'd be surprising if it would be stunning to me if all of a sudden we get Ahsoka next episode. I think he's gonna get on another. He'll find some. We have to get Carl Weathers and they're gonna come back in the next episode.
I don't know about the next episode, but
I think so, man. They're all over the marketing, and it's gonna be episode 4, right? Like they kind of come out at some point, and it's I think it could also be another case of they're trying to make us look one way and they're look the other.
Exactly.
But I think they will. I think they're in the show a good bit, and I think it'll be next episode. I think that'll be kind of the side wherever that goes. Will be kind of the side story we get to. I think we don't get Ahsoka until like rounding the corner of the season. Episode 7.
I actually agree like 100% on that.
Yeah.
I don't think we get Ahsoka. Mando specifically told Baby Yoda, it's going to be a bumpy ride. He says, exactly. I know where I got to take you. This is going to be a bumpy ride. I don't think that means just the crappy ship.
Now we know the journey, right? Like we have
exactly. So like we know the destination. Now we can enjoy the journey.
Yeah, and we knew from episode 1 what the mission was, right? And now he has a target. He has a goal, right? That we can look towards. I don't think we're getting that immediately. The story would it'd be stunning because like that would mean the story would change, right? Like we and that's sometimes that's a good plot to have is like you think this big like the goal is the end, right? Sometimes all of a sudden you're getting it halfway through a movie or a show, and it's like, wait, so what's next? And then you don't know.
Exactly.
And then you want, which is fun. But I think it will be near the end.
Yeah, I do as well. Whenever Dave Filoni's episode that he directs is when she'll be introduced. Now, we've heard rumors that Carl Weathers is he's quoted as saying that in their schedule, it was episode 4 that he directed. So he, all intents and purposes, seems like he's going to be directing this next week's episode.
Carl Weathers.
Yes. However,
He's going to be in it.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking as well. In all honesty, that he will be in it as well as directing. But I don't. Episode 4 of last year was directed by Dave Filoni. So episode 1 was Filoni. Episode 4 was Filoni. Last year, they had a lot of directors do 2 episodes. I think they had 3 of the 8 directors do 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So this season, the only person who has 2 is Jon Favreau.
Right.
Now, does that mean, episode 1 was Jon Favreau. He's also confirmed for the last episode. Then we had Peyton Reed and then Bryce Dallas Howard. And now will we get Dave Filoni directing in episode 4? Because he directed episode 4 last
It seems like it's Carl Weathers. Yeah, but I doubt it. I think we're going to save Filoni. I think it's going to be Carl Weathers. I think we're going to get his character back in it. We're going to get Gina Carano back in the mix. And I think we're going to start that bumpy ride.
Because
maybe
it doesn't seem like I do not think he can handle
maybe he goes get a ship repaired.
Yeah. What is the light speed? I don't think he can handle light speed right now. The way it looks. So he putted his way to Trask. He can put his way back to Tatooine, have Pelimato fix it up. Maybe that's how we get Boba Fett. Anyways, This was supposed to be a quick question, and then we just went down the rabbit hole like we always do.
Goes. This is the way.
Okay. I have to ask these two after the fan theory.
Okay, yeah.
They're super spoilery.
Yep.
Here is something that I want everyone to understand. This is my brain, okay? This is going to get dangerous. Buckle up, ladies and gents. Our timer is at 11 minutes. I hope I can finish all of this, and I think I will, swiftly. So the mention of the Mandalore, I think, is an important piece of information this episode. It looks as though Bo-Katan is going to grow into being the Mandalore again, right? It seems now Moff Gideon is the Mandalore. This brings a whole nother question of, is Moff Gideon a Mandalorian? Is he actually from that planet and joined the Empire and became a zealot? And now he wields the Darksaber and controls the entire planet. Potential. The ancient way is the ancient way of the Mandalore, which was do not take your helmet off. It's believed that was to protect the Mandalore, the actual one in charge. And it's interesting that Mando was raised in the Children of the Watch cult. Why does any of this crap matter? You're asking me here now with all of you. I'm going to tease this, and then I'm going to set it up in a minute. I'm going to finish it off in a minute, because really, ladies and gentlemen, we got to go through a journey. That's the end. That's the end. And that is part of the journey. I'll admit that. So let me take a breath. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. I think Ahsoka is a big time player. The fact that she was name dropped this early in the season is huge. Like we said, we don't think she shows up next episode. But at this point, I think we should expect the unexpected. And if I'm right, as of last week, where the entire format of the show will change after episode 3, much like the entire format of season 1 changed after episode 3, perhaps we do get Ahsoka next week. And if we do, what the hell comes next?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So either way, this now gives people a chance to research the character, which means you have, I think all of Clone Wars is roughly 48 hours, if I remember right. Somebody once did the math. So, no pressure, but you can watch all of Clone Wars in the time that you need to. And Rebels. Rebels is shorter, less seasons, less episodes. Now, Bo-Katan. Her quest is to get the Darksaber. I don't know if she survives that encounter with Moff Gideon. Moff Gideon is currently set up to be the big bad.
Yep.
If he is indeed the Mandalore, I think that leads into a much, much, much deeper plot point. Now, I do hate to say this, but I really do think Bo-Katan is going to end up dying, trying to regain the Darksaber.
Really?
Yes, because as soon as we saw the Darksaber pop up in season 1, I felt that Din Djarin is going to end up wielding the Darksaber. It just seemed to be lined up, right?
Yeah.
The show is about Din Djarin. Now, Clone Wars nor Rebels is about Bo-Katan, but they included very important stories about Bo-Katan in that. Right. So, option A, Bo-Katan regains the Darksaber, and then whenever we get that that Ahsoka and Sabine looking for Ezra show that's been rumored for a while, ever since the end of Rebels, spoiler alert, David, maybe it's set up for her to be involved in that show as the Mandalore. I'm not sure. We'll find out. But considering that this is the show about Din Djarin, if she dies, then he can wield the Darksaber. Now, let's look at his journey so far, right? It makes a lot of sense story-wise. Simply put, his journey has been, well, let's be real. I'm gonna die on this hill. I think Mando is force sensitive. This episode gave us little bits of teases that I am looking at through the lens of Mando is force sensitive. There's just something extra sensory about him. Sasha Banks disappears. He notices instantly. He looks over there. He was not even looking that direction whatsoever. Then again, that could be the helmet. Who knows? He does another thing later on. It's Baby Yeet when he is petting the frog. He now realized, I was like, oh, he wants to eat this frog. And Mando is like, I have enough pets. Sorry, you can't keep him. And I'm like, oh, he seems to understand that Baby Yoda wants him as a pet or as a friend. And then he snatches that thing out of the thin air. Now, granted, it might have been audible enough for him to hear, but it just seemed like he had no idea whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, at the last minute of danger, he snagged it. I think he's force sensitive. If Mando is force sensitive, I think that means he will be drawn to the Darksaber based off of the fact that he's bloody well force sensitive, and that's a force sensitive object. If Mando is force sensitive, then he has the opportunity to go from the dark side, which is like the cult, to the light side, which can be described as freedom. He's gone from having a nice ship, doing well on his own, to needing a team. Let me dive into a little bit more. I clicked the wrong link. I apologize, everybody. If we track Din Djarin's trajectory, he was raised in a cult. He was willing to kill and do what needs to be done for the job. It brought him riches, power, and a great ship. A lot of times in last season, we saw him do a lot of things all on his own.
Yeah.
Right? He did not need any help whatsoever for the most part. That's a borderline dark side trait. Power of the individual. Now his ship is destroyed. He's making a pilgrimage to find a wise master to learn about the Jedi and give Baby Yeet to his people. And this season, consistently, he has needed help from others. Mm-hmm. He has needed community. Community is a light side trait. So it makes the light side stronger when there's more of them, whereas the dark side is actually stronger when there's less. He's coated in silver Beskar, and he hovers at the precipice of balance. That Beskar is more or less gray, right? He's got the potential to travel from the underbelly to being a genuine leader of an entire people, balancing the force in his own way. And I think he will wield the Darksaber. I really, honestly, he's going to meet Ahsoka, right? What if she goes, "Oh, you're force sensitive. Let me train you in the ways of the force." And he just, "No, I don't want to." And then he's like, "Screw it, I will." Well, if he does that, who better to lead Mandalore with the Darksaber than a force-trained Mando that knows balance? Especially when the Darksaber was created by a Jedi Mandalorian over a few thousand years ago.
Yeah.
The show is called The Mandalorian, right? I think it's because he's going to become the Mandalore.
Right.
That's my
that was excellent.
Thank you. Thank you. I've had so many times, so much time to think about it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, David?
I like the idea. I think it could be true. I think that what you're laying out could be spread out over the next, he might not wield it until season 3, last episode. I think this could be something that, if that is the story, they clearly don't want this to end anytime soon. This isn't a mini series, right? This is they're trying to make this a show that goes on and, has this big legacy and is this huge part of Star Wars. And I think if they are building to that, there's some things they've set up where I do see it. And then there's the Baby Yoda element where it's like, what's the deal, right? With Baby Yoda? Like, because I think there's going to be some importance to when Ahsoka meets the child. I think that is going to be a moment, obviously. Bo-Katan knew Yoda a bit, like, knew of Yoda. Yeah.
I don't think she ever knew what Yoda looked like, though.
Oh, okay. Well, Ahsoka, knew Yoda, right?
Yes.
And when she sees the child, it's gonna be a what? Right. How did you get here? And I think that will be some of the more interesting parts. And I honestly think if what you say ends up being true, it'll be kind of like a veer from what they're gonna think we're going, right? Because I think everything's leading to, we all know Baby Yoda is force sensitive. And we know that he's very young for his species and all this, and that they're going to. So I like the idea of it because it makes sense. Especially you said, like, the Mandalorian, he'll be the Mandalore. Like, why is it about him? What's so special about him? Other than that, he's a badass and a really cool character, and that we really enjoy following him and his story. He's an onion, right? Like it slowly we get layers and we see his childhood, and it's awesome. It's really good storytelling, and I think what you say could happen, and I think that, honestly, I think it could be some big, him Moff Gideon fight. I don't know, but I also want to argue, I like the idea of what you're saying. I just think other people, I guess kind of myself included, where it's like, oh, like, why does everyone have to be like a Jedi? You know what I mean? Like, where people want to see, people that aren't force sensitive, even though it's the coolest part of Star Wars, like, that's all be real, like the Jedi and using the force and all the things the force can do is probably the most interesting part of Star Wars, at least in my opinion. I think it's really cool. But I think there might be some people out there that are like, oh, great. Of course, he's just a Jedi. Like, after it all, he's just a Jedi. You know what I mean? I'm not really, I think I would be happy if they went that route, because I think it would be a fun twist, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like what you're saying. It's a fan story. Like, it's not. This isn't what they're projecting on the show. Really, it would be a curveball, right?
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to be like Baby Yoda is the the force sensitive one, right? We've seen him do it, and there'll be Ahsoka, and like he's just trying to get the force sensitive baby to the people because he's like, this is how this is the proper thing to do, and I care about this little guy. So anyway, I would say that I think it's a cool idea. I think it could happen, really, and I think it would be. I'm upset you ruined it for me, honestly, already. But yeah, I think there's people out there that are like, like, why does it always have to be a Jedi? But
see, and based right off that comment, I don't really say, force sensitive is a very broad term. The Cheeto from Rogue One was force sensitive. But he was not a Jedi. He was not all powerful. He just had he had enough sensitivity to be able to slightly influence certain things here and there.
Yeah, and he almost seemed like he's like a devout follower and less of like a born like if we go back to I mean, technically, Star Wars canon, your midichlorian count. He's the guy who had no midichlorians, essentially, like very low, but really believed in the Force. Unlike Han at the beginning of Episode 4, it's a bunch of baloney, essentially.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think, essentially, it's like how many midichlorians does Mando have? Does Din Djarin have? We don't know.
And really, if you think about it, the way he was raised, I say Force sensitive. I don't think he'll be a quote unquote Jedi. I don't think he'll be powerful enough for that. At the end of the day, he does have very small goals. Becoming the ruler of a planet, not that large in a galaxy.
Yeah.
Especially, okay, here's another question that I've been saving up. Do you think that when he finds Ahsoka, whether this leads to Luke or not, does not matter. When he finds the Jedi, when he finds the Jedi and the people to take Baby Yoda, do you think he gives up Baby Yoda? Or do you think he says, nah, I think I'll keep the kid?
I think you mean like this season? Whenever.
Okay, whenever, like ultimately, the ultimate, when he finds, this is the people that you can take,
I mean, if it's Ahsoka this season, we could have that moment where he has to choose or where he has to feel like he's giving him up, which could be a powerful moment. I think for the story's sake, they'll probably have him give up the baby. I think he's going to do what's best for the child. That's where my answer would be, which probably would be giving him up, right? If that's what he thinks is the answer right then. I think there could be a situation where he gives him up end of this season and somehow has to get him back next season or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Also,
how about ultimately? Do you think that Mando will be separated from Baby Yoda permanently?
No. Okay. I do not. I think ultimately he ends up with him. I think the story could veer in ways where he has to lose him and he thinks it's the right idea, but turns out it's not.
Like he gives him away and then finds out that he's been taken and he has to go back out to get him.
Exactly. Something's wrong.
I'm just trying to find ways to reinforce my own fan theory here. Who better to protect Baby Yeet from the First Order in the Empire than an entire planet of Mandalorians?
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
At the end of the day, I think that is best for Baby Yeet.
It could be, right.
And now I have a question for you. Ignore everything I've said. Is the show actually about Baby Yoda becoming a full-fledged Mandalorian?
Well, I mean, that's how it seems like the underlying story has been from the end of last season, where it's like, all right, he's not he's the foundling now, and he's part of the little family and all this, the however you called it, the tribe or whatever.
The cult.
Yeah, sure. I think that it would make some sense. I don't know though, because the problem with Baby Yoda is, as a character, if they want to be logical, he's not going to age pretty much at all during the duration of this show.
Exactly.
Like, Din Djarin will be dead by the time he's functional. You know what I mean? So I think how they end up handling Baby Yoda is a mystery to me. That is one of the biggest questions I have, is how he ultimately ends up, where Baby Yoda ends up in this whole galaxy. After the show ends, is he around? Because in theory, where is he in the sequel trilogy? Also,
exactly.
So I guess I kind of answered that way, where I would say I do not think it's leading to Baby Yoda being the Mandalorian, because I think he's so young. This show's not going to have the time to tell us that story, in my opinion. But I do think, and it's funny, talking to someone about this, the possibility of seeing Luke or someone from the OG, seeing an OG character when they're younger. I think this show, if we get a Ahsoka Luke scene at some point, I mean, come on.
Why are you make me cry?
I mean, come on. That, who knows if we ever get that? Because, think about it, man. That's unbelievable. Who knows how they play that? You get Special Stan in there.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of things that come from Mandalorian. I don't know. We're talking about the show as in general, and it's hard to kind of it's hard to stay in the moment because there's so much that could happen. I think it could these questions could take seasons, years for us to answer.
Okay, I have a shorter one for you. Do you think Bo-Katan survives this season?
I think she does.
Oh, okay. I wanted to, before I let you answer, I wanted to say, I think the end of this season is going to end up being, much like last season, Moff Gideon in the final 2 episodes coming after Baby Yoda, finding out where they're at, and making his move.
Right.
And Mando is going to need a team. Well, he's definitely going to have Cara Dune and Greef Karga, but why not call Bo-Katan? Especially because, and this is why, Bo-Katan is after Moff Gideon. Moff Gideon is after Baby Yoda. Eventually, those worlds have to collide, and I think it's going to lead to a full-on war at the end of this season, and it's going to come down to Bo-Katan versus Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon, yeah.
For the Darksaber.
I agree. I think that she won't die at the end of this season, though, because I think it could set up for next season, where next season could be about this, like, quote-unquote battle or war they've started. That's like right now is a lot more.
That'd be fun. We just have so many questions.
Right now, there's a lot more chess being played than like just straight up tackle football out there. Like they're chasing, they're looking. There's there's a lot of mystery and there's distance. There's not a lot of clarity of where anyone is or what's really going on. They're not drawing a line in the sand. They're just trying to find each other and figure it out, right? There's sneak attacks. It's not all like open in the battlefield, right? And I think that we could lead that way. I think it could lead to some really cool battle scenes and seeing some really interesting political or early on, First Order or early on, you know what I mean? So resistance. So I think that which could lead to a Leia or a Luke or something, or just even like a mention. But anyway, I think that idea of it, this end of the season leading to the fight for the Darksaber, essentially, and who the hell grabs it? Like, Moff Gideon, Bo-Katan, Din Djarin, Baby Yoda, like Ahsoka.
Somebody has to die, right?
Right.
Like somebody in that fight has to die. Well, if you kill Moff Gideon,
the end.
Exactly. Like, there's no more tension, really.
Right.
Which I don't think they'll do. I think they would be more likely to kill off a character on the good side and then motivate Din Djarin even more for retribution. Okay, this just popped in my head. I think the end of this season ends with Baby Yoda in the Empire's hands somehow. Yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And I do agree that I think that Bo-Katan would be the one to die. Because I think she's like storytelling wise could be expendable and it would be powerful and it would lead to an interesting. It would to see what happens after that would be fascinating, right? Because I think she'll be a big player in this season. She obviously popped up episode 3. We'll get more of her. I think that is actually a really good idea. I just don't think it's gonna happen, even though I could see it for sure happening. I just don't know if the story will take us that way already in this season because. A lot of characters we've seen in Mandalorian, we see, and then they just go away. They don't die, right? But we'll see. Like stuff has to start hitting the fan. So
I've got this weird idea in my head that this show is going to go to 33 episodes.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, I don't know why, but it just felt like, to me, it felt like this episode was changing everything about the show, and it was taking it to a new level. And that's at 11. It feels like if you were to watch
third way through
Mandalorian chapter 1 to chapter 11, it feels like a single act, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
and it's like in an epic, in a hero's journey thing. I'm going to tell you right now, I dove deep into the hero's journey, and trying to compare things in Thor watches, but finding Baby Yoda is the inciting incident.
Right.
Being told that he's got to go find Ahsoka is now he's finding the Jedi. He's finding the master, the sage, to learn knowledge. That's why I think he's force sensitive. I think this is ultimately his hero's journey, and that's going to eventually lead to him being the Mandalore, and it's going to end with him on the throne of Mandalore, protecting the planet and protecting the galaxy any way they can.
Yeah.
And they're only, a small sect of human beings.
I'm really excited. Question for you. Maybe one of the final questions here. Do you think we get on Mandalore this season? That's a big one. That's going to happen at some point in the show, right?
If we do, it's to see that Moff Gideon is the Mandalore.
Which I think would be a dope way to end the season.
Yeah.
Let's get the big bad. Let's get the Empire Strikes Back. We lose at the end. Like, I don't know. I think
exactly. That's where I think this season's going. I think
they need it to continue the storytelling.
Okay. Holy shnikes. I think 7 and 8, or at least 8, takes place on Mandalore.
Oh, yeah. Jon Favreau.
What if they got Boba Fett on their team, bro?
They got a lot of story to tell, man.
Just gotta pay him enough. So do you have any fan theories, good sir?
I think the questions that you asked made me, had enough speculation on what could happen. I don't have anything that like off the top of my head.
Then let me
Frog
give
Lady
you this.
will return.
Calm down, Feige. I have a quote for you, and then I have a question for you.
Okay.
I'm going to repeat that question I just asked. This is from Giancarlo Esposito. It feels wonderful. This was at a fan expo event in Vancouver. It feels wonderful to have that iconic weapon in my hand. It takes some getting used to, as it is longer than a normal sword or saber. And of course, it is shorter when you turn it off. So you have to figure out how to work the handle. And when you're using a saber like that, you have to think of, well, you can't really hit because it'll bend. It has that humming sound. It vibrates with that light and that energy. So you have to strike as if you're trying to hit someone with the heel of your hand, as opposed to letting the saber go out, which is fight choreography 101, by the way. Lead with the hand. And then, anyways, sorry. So you keep your wrist straight. It feels powerful. It feels wonderful. I broke 3 of them last week. David, we're getting lightsaber fights this season.
Yeah.
How long do you think till it takes till we get there?
Episode 8, 100%. 100%. We're
Really?
3 episodes in.
That late?
2, yes. We're
Not
already
even wait, do you think we get a flashback though?
Yeah, I could see a flashback. I could see an Ahsoka flashback for sure. I would imagine a Purge flashback.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, we'll see.
Dude.
I'd love to see a flashback with lightsabers, but I think like current timeline, I think we won't get saber on saber till episode 8, and even then, I think it'd be a few and far between, like a little bit, a touch, one fight scene. Because I think
one fight scene.
Yeah,
there was a rumor that there was loads. I don't remember where that rumor came from or what it was based on, but there was a rumor that there was lots of lightsaber fights going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I buy that. We'll see though. Like that'd be awesome if that's how they go with this. But I don't know.
David, I'm glad I opened up comicbook.com because here's a title from Mandalorian Brandon Davis himself. Star Wars The Mandalorian star says the show will explain how Moff Gideon got the darksaber. He's quoted as saying,
I hope so.
This is Sackhoff, excuse me. I was screaming at the TV when I saw that. I was like, he doesn't even look good holding it, talking about Moff Gideon emerging with the darksaber. There are a lot of theories, and there is a story there, and we will find out, but I would hate to ruin it for everyone. You'll just have to wait and see. As a fan of the show, I hate spoilers. That has been the thing that has kept me really good on social media, to be honest. I didn't want to ruin it for anyone. There is teasing something, and then there was ruining it for people. I really wanted to make sure that I kept it exciting for them, and I wanted them to live that moment for the first time when they see her and have it be everything they wanted it to be for 15 years. I think there's a little piece of Bo-Katan that I don't think you see coming. She's got something else going on in her mind, and everything she does is purposeful. I think that is new for her. She's grown into the role of a leader, and I think she finally believes that she is that leader. There is an ego that comes with that, with her, that may or may not work against her. She is confirming my fan theory. Like, so it sounds like we will get a flashback. It doesn't sound. We will learn, but it feels like we'll get a flashback at the same time, in the same way that we got one with Cobb Vanth as he narrated, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm going to take my tinfoil hat off. This show has gone not as long as I thought it would, but that's really quick. I just want to say I love this picture.
Yeah, right.
It looks fake, and it's so real, and it makes me want to cry. Like, it's perfect. Okay, first off, the fact that it was Katie Sackhoff. As a Battlestar Galactica fan, I was already stoked when I found out she was the voice of Bo-Katan years ago. The fact that she gets to play her in live action. We didn't mention this. That is the first actor to play a character created for animation and then play that character in live action.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't really know that. I was like, oh, she looks the part.
Yeah. Try not to cry. David, where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, you guys can find me at my name, David Thompson, on Facebook, at David J. Thompson on TikTok and Instagram, and at David Thompson with 2 A's in the David on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter. That's where I like to post the most. Thomas, what about you?
You can find me at Thomas Carter Rochester -actor on Facebook, at Thomas Carter Rochester, all one word, no hyphens, no spaces on Instagram, at TC Rochester Act. That is TCROCHESTERACT on Twitter. And of course, you can find me on YouTube, Life of Thor. Just search for Thor Watches The Mandalorian, and you'll be able to find my channel. David, do you have any promotions for this week?
No, sort of. Wednesday I will. I don't know. It's weird. Basically, guys, screw it. So basically, I mean, it's out. Like I talked, like it hasn't happened yet, but so the Direct, the direct.com, you guys I probably heard of them. MCU Direct's kind of their big first social media page. And I learned from the guy who founded it about how it all started, and he ran me through the whole thing. And it was pretty fascinating hearing the other side of it. But anyway, so the direct.com, it's fun saying we are expanding to video games coverage. So right now they just do MCU, DCU, Star Wars. I think MCU and Star Wars kind of their biggest namesakes right now. They do DC with next gen consoles now out with Xbox Series X and S and PS5. I really want to get a PS5. They're impossible to find right now. The Direct, they posted a little while back. They were hiring writers for this expansion. They're going to now be covering video games, all things video games, and then also specifically Xbox and PlayStation exclusively. So yeah, anyway. Anyway, I have joined the Direct as a writer, PlayStation writer specifically. Hopefully that role will expand.
Yes!
Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate that. But we are supposed to be starting very soon. Hopefully Wednesday there'll be an announcement stuff. Social medias that you just saw up there. You guys can stay tuned for that. I'm super excited about it, honestly. Like I've been a fan of the Direct for a while now. Been following like their social media pages before they even had a website for a while, and it's really cool to join them. They're obviously a relatively really new website, just launched back in it was March. He said it was actually right when the pandemic hit. So
yeah.
But it's exciting, man. With video games, like with next gen out now, there's a lot to cover. We've got a good team of these us new writers coming in, and yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. So go check that out. Go to the Direct. Go check us out. And I'll be writing for them very, very soon. I'm sure on this podcast you'll hear a lot more about it now that it's out, and like by next week there will be a lot more happening. So anyway, that is my announcement. There you go. That's what I teased last week. Thank you, Terry, in the comments. I appreciate it, man.
I've been waiting all week. Yeah, you know that on Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thor Watches The Mandalorian Chapter 11 will be out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a lot of fun. It's a fun episode. The tinfoil hat goes on a lot more because I actually was trying to. I didn't have the opportunity to read off of multiple pages of notes. I just had to remember a lot of stuff at the same time. So it gets a little deeper and a little bit weirder and a little bit more into the hero's journey on the fan story. But you kind of already heard most of it, so you can just skip like the last 3 minutes for sure.
Second,
because
Thursday.
There's some stuff before I get to, the Din Djarin of it all.
Mm-hmm.
But that actually wraps up episode 32. Holy shnikes. How did we get here, man?
Right.
We will see you all next Monday right here on our Facebook page and the HWWS WebTV channel on YouTube. That's David Thompson. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester, and this has been episode 32 of Lights, Thunder, Action. See you all next week.
Bye, everyone.